Good morning, everyone. As you're getting set up for your practice, have two balls. You can do this with one. So if you only have one, that's fine. Two would be great. A strap would be great. A couple blocks. We'll start on our backs today. I want to get into the hips to support the knees. We are doing knee health practice. And Judith Hanson Lassiter says that the knees are the prisoners of the ankles and the hips. So we will be working a bit on ankles and hips and all the surrounding muscles and joints. Come onto our backs or whatever posture feels comfortable. You can do your arrival seated if you'd like to as well. If you are on your back, you might have a bit of support under your head. Constructive rest, knees bent, feet on the floor, maybe a little movement into the pelvis to find that sort of neutral position. Hands can rest beside the body or maybe onto the belly. Taking some breaths to consciously arrive here in your space, on your mat, and in your body. And let go of the day so far. Let go of whatever is to come. And feel yourself present in this moment. And witness what's here without judgment, without trying to figure out why something is. Just acknowledge. You might acknowledge your energy, your mood, sensations in the body. And eventually, if you haven't already, allow your awareness to shift towards an anchor point. It might be the palms of the hands, or it might be the breath. Connecting into that felt sense of breathing, your inner flow. And when the mind wanders, draw it back to your anchor. And witness where you can soften, maybe the face, the jaws, the belly. And when you feel ready, let the knees come up into the chest, just holding wherever it feels good. And as you exhale, let the knees squeeze a little tighter into your chest. And as you inhale, let them move away from your belly, away from your torso. So this movement connected with breath, just a gentle squeezing in and releasing away. You might feel this in the low back and the hips. You might notice right away that something has changed, maybe a feeling. All of our sensations constantly changing. And then with the knees together, you might decide to rock side to side. You might decide to circle the knees. Maybe you circle them together or maybe apart from each other, back in and around. So a few breaths to move with the knees into the chest and moving away in any way that feels good for you. If you've circled one way, you might then circle the other direction. And land the knees back into the chest and then stretch one leg out long, but let that leg hover and give yourself a point and a flex a few times. Other leg drawing into the chest. And then we'll switch sides. That one leg that was extended comes in, the other reaches out, hovering. So you're feeling the core work a little bit, pointing and flexing the foot. And come back to that first side, but then the extended leg, anchor it firm and strong down. Draw the knee that's into your chest a little closer. Let that be your exhale. And then just as we did before in the inhale, let the knee move away from the torso. Exhale, squeeze in. We're compressing into the hip. And if it feels better for your leg, for your knee, you might have the hands behind the thigh. One more like that. Once the knee comes in again, let's open the knee out to its own side. Use the hands on that side to cradle the leg open. So we're getting a bit of an inner thigh stretch. Pause. You might have the other hand on the hip. And then take that knee across the midline of the body. Use the other hand to hold. Keep hips on the ground so that now we're starting to get a bit of a stretch in the outside of the thigh, the IT band, that tensor fasciae latae. This is an area that, when stretched, can help support the knee. Breathing here. We'll draw that leg back to center and draw the other leg in. Stretch both hands and feet up towards the sky and just circle out hands and feet. Remember which knee you head into your chest. And circle around hands and feet the other way. Good. Bring the knees back into the chest and then shift the opposite leg out long. Anchor it firm and strong down. Squeezing the opposite knee into the chest. You might feel a bit of stretch into the front of the hip flexor. And then let that knee into the chest move away and then squeeze it back in on the exhale. We're compressing at the hip. The extended leg keeps the knee and the toe facing towards the sky. One more little squeeze in. And then allow the knee to open up to the side. Pause there and hold, starting to get that inner thigh stretch. So we're working on stretching and strengthening the supporting muscles around the knee. And draw that leg through center and just over the midline a little bit. Keeping hips on the ground, feel the outside edge of the leg getting a stretch, maybe even into the glute, the external rotators. Breathe here. Good. Let that knee come back to center. Once again, knees come into the chest. Give yourself a little pause. Breathe. And then we'll roll over to one side. Use your blocks or your hand as a little pillow and slide your knees a bit away from your torso. You can also use one of your other blocks if you like in between your feet. And this is totally up to you whether or not you have a block in between the feet or the feet just stacked. Clamshell will take the top knee, so it's a soft bend into the knees. You're leaning a little bit more forward instead of back. So top hand might be a bit forward and then you're lifting the top knee and lower. However the head, the neck wants to be, if you want to be sort of using the hand to support or the block, you can do whichever works best for you, as long as you're not leaning back at all. So a little lift and lower. Might have that block sandwiched in between the feet. So we're starting to work on that outside edge of the leg. Might feel that in the glute, the external rotators there. Belly is in. If you'd like to incorporate a bit of core for the last few, then you can do the same movement but lifting the feet. This can change the sensations in the knee. So if you feel that it's better having the feet down, then do that. Let's do about 3 more. Good. And then take the top leg and straighten it out nice and long. Rotate so the knee and the toe faces to the sky, and then do a little lift, really small, doesn't have to be big. Rotate knee and toe down, lower down. Rotate up, lift up, rotate down, lower down. Yeah. And if you're anything like me, you're definitely already feeling it in that upper hip. And so let's see about 3 more. Good. And then from here, we're bending that knee and shifting the knee back a little bit. So you might start to feel a bit of a stretch in the front of the hip. Don't do this if you feel any strain in the knee. You might reach for the foot, the pant leg. Keep the knee parallel to the ground and shift the hip forward. So we're working to get a bit of a stretch in the front of the thigh. You might feel that. Maybe this position doesn't work so well for your body. So let it go if it doesn't. Release the foot and then take that knee and point it up towards the sky and just straighten the leg up. A little bit of an inner thigh stretch. You might feel this a bit on the back of the leg. Hold the leg wherever it works for you. And then maybe a bit of balance. You might straighten that lower leg out. So a bit of core here as well. Give yourself another breath, pose of infinity. And then release that top leg. We're going to roll over to the other side. I'm just going to do a little flip. So you might take your block and place it in between the feet. You might use hand or block under head for support, leaning forward, soft bend into the knee so the knees aren't too close to your chest. And then that top leg lifts and lower. Working on the outer thigh, outer glute. And if you want to incorporate a little bit more core here, you're probably already using your core as you're lifting the leg, but if you want to make it a bit more, you can keep the feet sandwiched together and just lift them up as well. If this transfers any strain to the knees, then put the feet back down. Good. So let's do about 3 more. And then release the feet. You can shift your block off if you're using it. Straighten that top leg. Rotate the knee up a little, lift up. Rotate down a little lower. Good. Doesn't have to be super high. So feel into the outside of that leg. Nice. Maybe about 3 more. Good. And then bend the knee. You might reach for the foot. You might hold on to the pant leg. Let the knee shift back a little bit. Let the hip come forward so that you're working to get a bit of a stretch into the front of the thigh. If you feel it in the knee right away, or if it doesn't feel like a stretch in the front of the thigh, then just leave it. We'll do other things to stretch this area. Give yourself another breath. And then release the foot, draw the knee in, and then point it up. Straighten that leg by any amount. You might hold it somewhere. Maybe again, pant leg, back of the thigh. Other leg, if you want to challenge your balance, might straighten out. Traditionally, this pose has fingers looped around the big toe, but you don't have to do that. Whatever works for you. Yourself another breath. And then let's bring the feet all the way together. Roll onto your belly. Plank pose, you might have your forearms down and you might come up onto your toes so that shoulders are over top elbows. Shoulders and hips are in line, connecting to the core. Even a little squeeze of the inner leg lines. Every time we do plank, we'll come down to our belly. So it's up to you how long you stay in plank. You can stay there a little longer. You can stay there for the whole time that we do back bends if you like. And if you're ready for your back bend, hands under the shoulders, elbows and shoulders down the back. Anchor into the pelvis. For your exhale, let the chest rise forward. And release down. We'll do 2 more like that. Let this all be the back. So the arms are just there to support. They're not pressing. This time, we'll lift the hands. Let the fingers do a little wiggle. Anchor into the tops of the feet a little more. Draw the belly up and in. And think about lengthening from the pubic bone up through the front of the chest. Breathe. And then release. And as you release, you might stack the hands under the forehead. You might bend the knees and windshield wiper side to side. Sometimes it's nice to do a little egg beater with the legs. Just getting into the joints of the hips. And you can stay here as long as you like. You might also choose to go up to tabletop, to child's pose, to downward dog. In tabletop, you could do some cat and cow. Couple more breaths and whatever chosen posture works for you. If you are doing downward dog, which can be nice for the knees, you might want to pedal out the feet. Maybe even bend the knees a bit, shift the hips up and back and widen them apart. And kind of pedaling through the feet, think about moving all the bottoms of the feet, like you're sort of rolling the bottoms of the feet. Wherever you are, another breath. And then on your exhale, nice and slow, you'll either come up to a forward fold or up to standing, whatever works for you. If you do that forward fold, you might do a halfway lift to rise. Exhale to release. And then press the feet into the ground and reach and lift all the way up. Big, big stretch up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Let's do 2 more of those. You might come up and just join us for the last one. Yeah, now 1 more. Nice. Pressing hands up against the heart. Just take a moment for alignment and inner focus. Stacking Knees over ankles, hips, shoulders, and ears. Feel into the feet and lift the toes and spread the toes apart. And then release them down. And as you lift the toes again, notice which parts of the feet you're pressing down more. Maybe the ball of the feet and the heel, and which are lifting up, maybe the arches. And then release again. Good. Release the hands. Let's roll the shoulders up, back and down. You can do this as you're finding your ball. Let the shoulders come up, back and down, and then one more. Good. And for the ball, we're doing a bit of foot rolling to get into the bottoms of the feet. So just take one foot and start to massage all around the foot. So sometimes knee pain, leg pain, ankle pain, hip pain can come from the foot, because really these feet are holding us up and doing so much for us. So trying to stretch out or massage through the bottom of the foot, we can start moving all of the joints between all of the bones that are there. Now just massage where it feels good here for another breath. And then we'll anchor the heel and wrap the toes around the ball. Let the fingers come out. We'll just sort of let the fingers come into a soft squeeze as you squeeze the toes around the ball, and then spread them all apart. So a nice squeeze, maybe some pressure down, and spread apart. Good. And one more little squeeze and spread apart. And then bring the ball into the middle of the foot and go sort of crossways. Be a bit gentle with this one, like you're doing a little mashed potato dance across the fibers of the foot. And then anchor the toes, push the heel onto the ball. This can be nice for back pain and also for turning on those osteoblasts. We'll inhale the lift up, and then exhale, single pump or double pump down, nice and firm and strong. Let's do one more. And then back to little massages, maybe the inner arch, maybe alongside the outside portion of the foot. Good. And then take that ball, just set it somewhere that it's not going to roll away. Come back to your Tadasana. Feel into the feet. Align the body. Present, awake and aware to what's shifted and changed. Noticing the foot that you did the rolling and all the way up that side of the body. Has anything softened? And then we'll shift over to the other foot. So just starting with that massage, keep the feet wide enough apart that you feel pretty stable. You can always hold on to a chair or a wall. Nice, yummy, yummy feet. So you might be getting into the toes a little bit, onto the heel, the inner outer arches. And then you'll anchor the heel, but wrap the toes around the ball like you're trying to pick the ball up. Let the fingers come into a little fist as well, and then spread and wind them apart. A little fist, squeeze, and widen apart. Good, let's do one more. And then ball into the middle of the foot, kind of a side to side, going across the fibers, nice and gentle for this one. And then anchor the toes, but the heel goes right over top of the ball. So we'll lift up And then exhale, firm single or double pump. Good, one more. And then a little bit more massage. Nice. Okay, we'll send that ball off to the side. Take one more moment near Tadasana to feel into the legs, to notice the feet, the buzzing, the tingling, any shifts or changes that you can feel all the way up the body. Feeling into the feet, find your block and slide your block in between your thighs. So this can be closer to the knees or a little bit more up. And then shift the feet so that the knees and the ankles are the same distance apart. So that might be widening or coming together based on the size of the block. From there, send the hips back as you squeeze the block and come into your chair pose. And remember that chair pose, you might tuck the tailbone under a little bit more or release that, whatever feels best in your body. Squeezing the inner thighs for your sit. Hands can come to the heart. And then straighten the legs, reach up, but keep that squeeze in the inner thighs. And then squeeze again and come back down. Squeeze again and lift back up. Squeeze again and lower down. Pause and hold. And this time as you come up, keep the knees apart at the same distance, toes number 11. Squeeze, but remove your block. Bring your block with you as you reach the arms up. And then step that left foot straight back. Anchor the heel down. You can even walk the front toes out a little bit. Good. And we'll do a little lean forward, let the block come forward. And then lift and reach the arms up. So the front knee is bent, warrior one. We're doing a little lean forward, reach the block forward. And then allow the arms to come up. And then this time we'll lean forward, block comes forward, straighten the front leg as you reach the arms up. And then we'll hinge, letting the block come down to the mat. So now you're in your pyramid pose. You might have that left hand on the block. The block is inside of the front foot. Anchor through the front big toe. Pause and hold. Both legs are straight. Hands can be on the block or on the front thigh. And by any amount, release the head and neck, soften down towards that front leg. And then halfway lift the spine, press firm into that front left arm onto the block. Right hand can go to the back. Squeeze inner thighs and maybe you do a little turn towards that right side. Hand can stay on the back or maybe you reach the arm up. So revolve triangle. Exhale to release. Press into that front leg and lift all the way up. Bring your block with you again. Bend the back knee. You might lift the heel and then shift the hips forward. Take your block up and do a little bit of a back bend so that you might feel the stretch into the front of that left hip. Release the back bend. Weight into the front foot, but keep the front knee bent. Reach the block forward and lift the back leg by any amount. Keep that front knee a little bent. It doesn't matter the height. You work to where it works for you. You're going to feel that right hip. Toe can come down as you like. And then feet come together. Block goes in between the thighs. Align knees and align ankles, toes. Number 11, they're pointing nice and parallel. Reach the arms up, squeeze inner thighs, and then squeeze inner thighs and sit back down into your chair. Good. Squeeze inner thighs and reach and lift up. And squeeze inner thighs, sitting back down. Nice. Squeeze inner thighs and reach up. Last time, squeeze inner thighs and sit down. We'll stand up again. Take the block. Keep the knees the same distance apart. Straighten the legs so firm and strong, reaching that block up. Step the right foot straight back, anchor the heel. You might wiggle that left foot over so that you have both hips pointing forward. Bend into the front knee. So Virabhadrasana 1, front ribs in. Do a little lean forward, block comes forward. And lift up. Might be an exhale that you do your lean forward, front knee stays bent. Inhale, lift. This time as we lift, we'll straighten that front leg. Lean forward. This time the block comes to the floor so that you're at the highest height there. Block inside of that left foot, but under the right shoulder. Hinging at the hip, so a nice straight spine. Exhale, fold by any amount to come over that front left leg. Chin to the chest, release through the head and neck. Both legs straight, feel into the stretch. Press the right hand into the block to straighten that arm and lift the spine halfway. Other arm might go behind the back. Squeeze inner thighs and turn by any amount if it feels okay towards that left side. Good. The arm could reach up, it doesn't need to. Squeeze inner thighs and unwind. Push into the ground and lift back up and bring that block with you. Bend back into the front knee. Lift the back heel just enough so you can bend that back knee. Shift the hips forward and then let the block reach up towards the sky again. A little bit of a back bend here. So we're working for a stretch in the right back hip, front of the hip, and all the back leg, that right back leg, the front of the thigh. One more breath. Release the back bend. Weight into the front foot, but keep that knee bent. So warrior 3, bent leg. So we're supporting and strengthening muscles around the knee. Back leg lifts by any amount. Another breath. Then release the block to your chest or wherever foot comes down. Inhale to reach all the way up. Exhale, dive forward. Let go of the block, forward fold. You might do that halfway lift to rise. Exhale to fold. And then into your plank pose. Bend your knees, step your feet back. Come into plank. Inner leg lines doing a bit of a gather. You recall how long you stay in plank. Lowering down to your belly whenever you're ready. And this time we will take the left arm forward and we'll bend the left knee. On your exhale, you'll lift up that left arm and the left knee. You don't have to reach for them. You can stay in pause here, or maybe the hand reaches back towards the foot. You don't need to get the foot at all. Chest is elevated, chest is lifted. And then release. Right arm goes forward, right knee bends. On your exhale, you're lifting that whole right side of the body. Hand can stay reaching forward or it can reach back. Keep breathing. And then release. Hands might stack under forehead. You could windshield wiper the legs. When you're ready, you might shift to child's pose or tabletop to circle the hips, or maybe downward dog. Another breath or two. And then when you're ready, you're coming into either a forward fold or up to standing, whatever works for you. You might do that halfway lift to rise. Exhale to fold. And then press the feet into the ground to lift and reach all the way up. Big, big reach. Exhale, hands to the heart. Good. Inhale, lift and reach. Nice. And one more. Let's step wide on our mat and then turn the toes out to the sides. Bend into the knees and allow the arms to come to us. Yeah. So let the legs be really, really wide so that the knees, ankles, toes all stack the same way. And you're not pushing the knees forward. If anything, the bum is going back. Nice and strong into the legs. We'll squeeze inner thighs, reach and lift the arms up. And then exhale, firm into the core and sit back down. Good. Push down, squeeze inner thighs, reach. And sit down. And one more time, squeeze. And sit down. Good. Pause here. Feel the strength in the legs. Beautiful. Release the arms nice and straight out to the sides. Straighten the legs. And then take the right foot to the front of the mat. Left is going to turn sort of to the middle of the mat. So toe, knee, hip, all facing the same way. Bend into that right knee. Make sure you can see the big toe, hips and shoulders in line. Pause, looking over that right middle finger. And then release the hands and take the right hand to the outside of the right knee. Press the hand into the knee and push the knee into the hand. And then relax. Push the hand into the knee into the hand. And relax. One more time, hand and knee push into each other. And relax. You can probably feel that leg working. We're going to turn the hips, the back left hip towards the front of the mat, lifting the back heel. So just as we did before, this time the leg is straight. Allow the arms to reach and lift up. So strengthening the ankle, strengthening the toes, squaring the hips to the front of the mat, this big high lunge, working to strengthen that whole back leg, keeping the front ankle and knee in line. Last breath. And then you're stepping forward, release the arms, take that back foot and slide it behind the front leg. So you have the legs crossed. Inhale to reach up And then exhale, remember you have your block close by. Lower, fold down. The block can come to support. Bow chin towards the chest. Breathe into the stretch. One more breath. Push the feet into the ground, come up, bring your block with you. Unwind the legs and step wide again on your mat. This time the toes are going to be parallel. Let the feet be really, really wide. Hinge at the hips. Let the block come with you so that the block is maybe on its tallest stance, if that feels okay for you. Maybe you let it come down one more. Let the length be into the spine. And then fold by any amount to feel that inner leg line stretch. Another breath. And then you'll shift over towards one foot. And you might bring your block with you, or maybe just hand to the thigh or to the ground. Bend one knee so that the other thigh gets a stretch. So adductor stretch. And then shift and walk over to the other side. So the other knee, one leg is straight, one is bent, bum goes back. Slide the block over to the left side. Let the hands come, or let the legs straighten again and let the hands come to the hips. And then push down with the feet to lift all the way up. Turn that left foot towards the end of the mat. The right toe turns towards the middle of the mat. Bend into that left knee. Make sure the back toe, the knee, and the hip are in the same line. Reach the arms up. Take a look towards that left side. Make sure you can see the left big toe, hips and shoulders in line, firm and strong in the legs. Take the left hand, both hands can come down to the outside edge of that left leg. Push the knee into the hand and let the hand resist. And then relax. So the outside edge of the thigh and the hand push into each other. And relax. And one more. Push, push, push. And relax. Turn that back hip towards the left side of the mat. You're lifting up the back heel, straight leg this time. Shift hips forward, reach the arms up. So strength for the ankle, for the bottom of the foot. Stretch into that front right hip. One more breath. As you unwind the arm, step that back foot behind the front. Lengthen up, inhale. Exhale to fold forward. You have that block there. You can use the block to give you another base of support, chin to chest. One more breath. Push into the ground. Lift yourself up. Unwind the legs. And then bend the knees and send the bum back. So you could be going into your chair pose for a little pause. Maybe you rotate your feet out and you come into a bit of a squat, whatever works for you. And then eventually you'll lower yourself down and come onto your seat. Spread the legs wide, wide apart. Pick up your bum a little bit. Reach it out behind. Nice wide legs. Elevate the spine. Let the knees and the toes face up towards the sky. And then do a little lean forward. So again, inner leg line stretch. One more breath. Press up with the hands. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. And this time you're going to keep the feet a little bit away from the body and lean forward. So it's going to bring the stretch a bit more into the hips instead of the inner thighs. One more breath. Press down with the legs and the feet. Let the hands come to the outside edges of the knees to draw them in. Let's see how much time we have. Take one of your balls and place it under your calf. So we're just taking a ball under the calf. Keep the other knee bent and just lift the bum a little bit, hands down. Give yourself a roll into that calf muscle. You can move the ball around. See if you can get sort of the whole calf muscle having a massage. Move it around a little bit. Sometimes when the calf is tight, it can pull on the back part of the knee, and that can create some achiness or tenderness. You might turn the knee out to the side a little bit so that you're rolling more of the outside line of the calf muscle. Okay, and then we'll head to the other leg. So the other leg straightens and one bends. So you have the foot pushing down, the hands pushing down, the bum lifts a little bit, and you roll along the calf. You can stop and adjust the position of the ball. And a little bit more. You might roll the knee to point out to the side so that you're working on the outside edge of that calf muscle. That might change the sensations for you. Hopefully, you're still breathing. Good. Another breath or so. And then release that ball. You're going to keep your ball close by. You're also going to have your block support for under your head and your strap. If you have two balls, that is great. You can do this with two or with one. Roll onto your back. To start, we're going to take that block in between the knees again, and nothing behind the head, just for the first bit. Parallel feet will squeeze inner thighs, tuck the tailbone under, lift the hips. So this sometimes we do for core work. This time I want you to squeeze the bum a little bit more. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze inner thighs. Keep the hips lifted and then think about shifting your tailbone towards your knees and your knees the direction of your toes. So it's like you're lengthening the whole tailbone, the knees away. Give yourself another breath. And then slowly release down. Remove the block. Take your strap around the bottom of that right foot. Stretch that leg up towards the sky. Keep the leg fairly straight, soft bend into the knee. Take both ends of the strap into that right hand, and then draw the left leg in and move the legs apart from each other. Rotate the toe and the knee of the extended leg down. So you're getting an adductor inner thigh stretch again. Breathe, soften face and jaws. Another breath. Squeeze the legs back together. Take that bent knee and place the foot down. Keep the hips on the ground, but slide the leg over to the opposite side a little bit so that now we're getting that stretch in the outside edge of the leg. Draw that leg back to center. Let its partner, its other leg, come up for a moment. Let both legs come towards you, towards your torso. So a bit of a stretch in the back of both legs. And free the leg that you already stretched out. Draw that knee into the chest, let the legs widen apart from each other. And as you do, you're turning the toe and the knee down towards the ground of the extended leg. Do, 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 do. Feel into the inner thigh. It's a bit of a push pull into the strap in the hand, strap in the foot. So you're active. Exhale, draw the legs back together. Take that bent knee foot down, and then the strap into the other hand. Let the leg move across the body. Pause. And then draw that leg back to center, release the strap. Take the feet into the ground, and you can do this with one ball or two. You can do one side at a time. I'm going to do two balls, lift the hips up, one on either hip, and then just start to windshield wiper the legs side to side. This is getting into the external rotators, the piriformis, a little bit of a massage. You can also incorporate the elbows, your little elbow basket going side to side. If the feet are apart, this is more for the hips, especially as you're incorporating the balls in the massage. If you have your feet really close together, you might be doing more of a twist for the spine. And if you'd like to come into a twist, you might do a little bit more. Come off the balls for a twist. Just play around here. Maybe you're moving the ball to the other glute if you had one ball. Maybe you've decided to ditch the balls and go into a full twist. Yourself about 3 or 4 more breaths, whatever you're doing. And then you'll just remove the balls and we'll set up for our Shavasana. And you can always be lying on your back, you can go on your side, you can have bolsters under your thighs. You might choose to put your calves up on a support. And that can be really, really nice to release the hip flexors at the front of the hips. And when we release the hip flexors at the front of the hips, that can be nice for the low back, but also for the knees, because knees and hips are connected. If you do that, you might like to put a little support under your hips. Just getting yourself set up in whatever posture feels good for you. And know that you can stay in this posture even if we finish the video and we say our goodbyes. You can still be in whatever posture you want for as long as you like. Once you are set up, give yourself a big inhale and a sigh. And another deep inhale and a sigh to let go. And one last one. Release the whole body. Let go of thoughts. Let go of what's ever to come and just be present here in this moment. Rest, relax, and surrender. You're welcome to stay in your chosen posture for as long as you like. Only if you feel ready to come out, so really listen to yourself. You might begin to wiggle fingers and toes. If you're staying in your posture, just let all of these words wash over you. Maybe your knees come into your chest. Maybe you give yourself a long stretch. Whenever you feel ready, you might roll to your side, taking some time to transition slowly. When you feel ready, you might come up to any comfortable seat. Hands could rest at the thighs or maybe come up to the place of the heart at Anjali Mudra. And the invitation, if you like, is to bow your head towards your heart in a sign of gratitude. Gratitude to yourself for practicing today, for listening to your inner teacher, and gratitude to those who have brought this ancient South Asian wisdom and practice to us. May all beings be healthy. May all beings be happy. May all beings be free. Slowly opening your eyes, lifting your gaze. Thank you all so much for being here and sharing your practice with me. Bring our hands to our forehead for clarity of thought, to our mouths for purity of speech, to our heart for openness of heart. And we close with the seal of yoga.